Finding a workable pace. Understanding ball screw potential and constraints. The capacity to work reliably at higher velocities is the reason movement framework architects regularly determine ball swindles lead screws. Nonetheless, ball screws have speed constraints of their own. Understanding those will assist you with enhancing ball screw gathering execution in applications going from little research center liquid siphons to enormous overhead gantries and superior apparatus. Ball screw basics. A ball screw gathering comprises of a screw and a nut with recycling metal balls. The association between the screw and the nut is made by metal balls, which roll in the coordinating with ball structures inside the nut and screw shaft. This disperses powers over numerous heading, giving a moderately low burden for every ball and a low coefficient of erosion, adding to higher speed activity ability. Fig. 1. Ball screws have a low coefficient of contact in light of the fact that the heap is conveyed across different heading, which recycle while the shaft turns. 1. Ball screws have a low coefficient of erosion in light of the fact that the heap is dispersed across different direction, which recycle while the shaft turns. The screw and nut as a rule have one-of-a-kind greatest RPM limits, so choosing the best ball screw gathering expects thoughtfulness regarding both. Ball screw design features. Essential screw shaft configuration highlights affecting most extreme RPM are end mounting, screw lead and screw measurement. Each ball screw has a characteristic recurrence at which it vibrates unnecessarily, which is known as its basic speed. At the point when the application speed lines up with the basic speed, the screw vibrates in congruity. Fig. 2. Lopsided characteristics intrinsic in the screw then, at that point resound with it, causing inordinate bowing, vibration and, at last, disappointment. 2. The screw shaft can vibrate at high RPM. 2. The screw shaft can vibrate at high RPM. End mounting. Mounting alternatives remember fixing it toward one side for a push bearing, supporting it at the two closures in drifting direction, fixing it toward one side while supporting it at the opposite end in a coasting bearing, or fixing it at the two finishes in push course. The most noteworthy paces are achievable when ball screws are fixed at the two closures. The fixed closures oppose bowing second loads, so the ball screw attempts to stay opposite to the planes of the help orientation. Notwithstanding, fixing at the two finishes can be more costly and hard to introduce than the other mounting choices. When fixed at the two closures, the distance between help blocks isn't movable and can make adjusting the mounting openings a test. Screw lead. Higher leads will speed up by moving the nut along the screw quicker, expecting to be steady info speed. When contrasting two screws and various leads of a steady straight speed, the higher lead will diminish the info engine speed. Higher leads do, notwithstanding, increment the force needed to turn the screws. Screw width. Bigger measurement screws increment the heap limit and the greatest RPM rating. More modest measurement long screws will have a lower RPM. With a similar lead, the bigger breadth screw will have a higher speed rating. What limits maximum RPM? The ball nut most extreme RPM is restricted by the speed of the metal rollers flowing through the ball nut. Surpassing the ball nut greatest RPM may bring about lasting harm to the ball redissemination segments. The metal balls may break out of or sketchy situation the return framework, conceivably bringing about the unit's finished disappointment. 3. A correlation of ball return situation, from left to right, inside, catch and outer. 3. An examination of ball return situation, from left to right, inward, catch and outer. There are three significant sorts of profits frameworks: inner, catch and outside. Fig. 3. The reason for the profits is to give redissemination of the metal rollers in the nut. The return framework configuration influences the nut's speed limits. The outer return frameworks ordinarily use a little finger that stretches out into the ball notch to redirect the ball into the bring way back. At high rates, this finger can flex from the metal rollers hitting it and at last sever. The catch and inside plans are for the most part more powerful and normally can work at higher velocities than the outer bring framework back. The greatest speed for a 1-in breadth screw like this one will change significantly relying upon length, going from 2,938 rpm at 36 in. Furthermore, 184 rpm at 144 in. Appraised at 80% of its basic speed, basic backings. Qualities can be referred to in the Machinery Handbook. The most extreme speed for a 1-in width screw like this one will fluctuate incredibly relying upon length, going from 2,938 rpm at 36 in. Furthermore, 184 rpm at 144 in. Appraised at 80% of its basic speed, basic backings. Qualities can be referred to in the advanced for speed. A framework advanced for speed regardless of anything else would almost certainly require the accompanying fixed end upholds for the screw get together. Higher prompts speed up. Enormous breadth screws to expand the heat limit and the RPM rating. Inward return frameworks for the ball nuts. In any case, numerous different variables become an integral factor, including load qualities, positional precision, repeatability, required future, dimensional limitations, input power prerequisites, ecological conditions and accessible spending plan. The effect of most factors influencing velocity can be determined. Ball screw makers regularly suggest greatest paces for their items and give apparatuses that will assist you with estimating the actual trade-offs. Ian Miller, Peng, is Public Administration's Business Advancement Administrator of Motion Canada. He has over a time of pressure-driven and electrical involvement with the field, including framework configuration, investigating nearby establishments, and specialized preparing support. Thaniel Smith is Supervisor of Use Designing, Thomson Industries, Inc. He is liable for dealing with the North American Application Designing Group. Smith acquired his Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Designing from Brigham Young University and has worked at Thomson for a very long time. AI keeps rolling bearings on the move. This tail structure predicts the excess valuable existence of moving course under deformity movement. Moving course are fundamental segments in mechanized hardware with pivoting components. They come in numerous shapes and sizes, however are basically intended to convey a heap while limiting rubbing. All in all, the plan comprises of two rings isolated by moving components, balls or rollers. The rings can pivot comparative with one another with next to no grinding. A heading, as other machine parts, at last flop because of mileage. In any case, fixing imperfections can be restrictive for two reasons. Firstly, the rings are blocked off, and furthermore, machine vacation is exorbitant. The capacity to precisely foresee the leftover helpful existence of the course under imperfection movement could lessen pointless upkeep systems and rashly disposed of parts without gambling breakdown, announced researchers from the Institute of Scientific and Industrial Research and NTN Next Generation Research Alliance Laboratories at Osaka University. Outline of moving bearing and deformity shape on the raceway surface of the inward ring. Outline of moving bearing and deformity shape on the raceway surface of the internal ring. Osaka University. The researchers have fostered an AI strategy that joins convolutional neural organizations and Bayesian various level demonstrating to anticipate the excess valuable existence of moving direction. Their methodology depends on the deliberate vibration range. As imperfections create inside a direction, its vibration plentifulness starts to change, notice the researchers. They made a spectrogram showing the power of various frequencies as a component of time. These two-dimensional diagrams were utilized to prepare a convolutional neural organization, which is an AI strategy for picture acknowledgement and vision undertakings. Foreseeing the excess helpful life bend of moving direction under imperfection movement is typically troublesome, attributable to unpredictable change of vibration highlights, noted first creator, Masashi Kitai. Changes in the excess life forecast dissemination as imperfections progress. Changes in the excess life forecast appropriation as imperfections progress. Osaka University. The researchers utilized Bayesian progressive displaying to surmise the boundaries, including remaining lifetime. This methodology permitted the researchers to incorporate the outcomes into a solitary arrangement of forecasts, alongside related vulnerabilities. During testing, the technique improved the blunder of anticipated excess helpful life by about 32%. More productive upkeep of modern hardware dependent on our innovation may prompt diminished ecological weight and monetary misfortune, said senior creator Kenichi Fukui. The researchers trust that future calculations might be summed up to work with a wide scope of mechanical parts and lead to new modern checking techniques for upkeep planning, proficiency and security. The article, "A Structure for Anticipating Staying Valuable Life Bend of Moving Heading Under Imperfection Movement Dependent on Neural Organization and Bayesian Strategy. Mechanical and Motion Systems. The Importance of Hydraulic Hose Size. The Unfavorable Impacts of Supplanting a Water-Driven Hose with the Mistaken Size. Supplanting destroyed couplings with the erroneous size can cause unseen side effects. Stream speed is a significant thought when supplanting a bigger water-powered hose inside measurement with a more modest pressure-driven hose inside distance across. Figure out how to compute stream speed. Providers of pressure-driven hose congregations will confront this regular situation. An end client gets an exhausted water-powered hose to be supplanted, yet the couplings required for this specific size hose are OU.